My DM is removing crits on smites. But sneak attack does crit. Bruh, apparently that is not enough to justify it though. I just what the hell, man. For the record, rogues, sneak attack is literally the example the book gives you in the critical hits section. Rogues can't crit on sneak attacks anymore. Emphasis mine. Seems like the DM is going by an early playtest of Wand, but that has since been reversed. I think Op needs to show DM that Wand now allows crits again on sneak attacks and smites. I know DMs can do whatever they want. This mentality is what allows bad DMs to get away with shitty rule changes like this. DMs can be criticized about how they run their games and be told their changes suck. Sure, they can be stubborn and tell you off, but if they do that, then you should leave their tables and cite to them and the rest of the group exactly why you are leaving, and hopefully the rest of the group will follow. TLDR, stop playing with DMs who make shitty rulings/changes, continuing to play with them only encourages and validates them. I couldn't remember if that rule had changed in the Wand and D playtest, but going back to the rogue and looking up sneak there was no mention of it being changed to not crit. Not sure where he got that idea from. Not only is a crit smite limited by the nat 20 needed, but you also need your limited pool of smite uses available at the right time. You might get lucky and pull off a crit smite once in every few combats at most. I think you'll get pretty much universal dislike of that homebrew rule. You're definitely not the asshole, and this isn't just kind of annoying. Raw, from PHP page 196. Critical hits. When you score a critical hit, you get to roll extra dice for the attack's damage against the target. Roll all of the attack's damage dice twice and add them together. Then add any relevant modifiers as normal. To speed up play, you can roll all the damage dice at once. For example, if you score a critical hit with a dagger, you roll 2d4 for the damage rather than 1d4, and then add your relevant ability modifier. If the attack involves other damage dice, such as from the rogue's sneak attack feature, you roll those dice twice as well. Emphasis added. If your DM won't abide by Raw, I would find a new DM. Nerfing players down from Raw is not the move. Any DM worth their salt will just make encounters tougher if their players are performing too well in combat. Aside from the stuff you can show him in the actual rules, remind the DM that this stuff was tested already by a lot of people, backed by a major corporation's resources, and the combat playstyle of the Paladin is meant to include massive potential strike damage when smiting. If he is strangely unable to acknowledge his error, it might be best to exit the group and find another with a reasonable DM. The DM has a right to ban or change the game in any way they see fit. That's their duty as part of crafting the session and game world. You have a right to decide whether or not you want to play in their game. In practice, removing considerably strong things for the fun of the table tends to be a net positive, and only ends up being adversarial when it happens unexpectedly to the players who previously relied on it mid-campaign or session. The DM coming to you to notify you of changes at his table was the correct etiquette and actually a less common courtesy if most Reddit posts tend to be believed, lol. The DM testing the waters with a one-shot to see how the team plays actually an advanced move to forming a cohesive party and group, because now they understand how your party will play and can tailor the world around them in a way that works best for everyone. 4. Finding it annoying when the DM is doing their best to balance the world and gave you advanced notice about changes in his rules early only. If you just want to roll dice with numbers, go play BG3 with a broken build rather than breaking every encounter for the rest of the party. My take is that if you're ruining the game with overpowered damage numbers, and min/maxing intentionally to squeeze the most juice out of your class while the rest of the players aren't, greater than, then you're the asshole at that table. Both level 5. Wizard wiping out an entire group with a single 8d6 fireball. Yes, this is fine. A pally hitting 6d8 extra damage to a single target by spending one of his 2 second-level spell slots on a 5% chance of a crit. No ths is musagda, ma. Sh. Sorry, your DM is acting dumb and stupid. I don't see why smites and sneak attacks wouldn't crit. What's next? No crits when you have advantage. Still, to make things easy on yourself, it sounds like you should just pick another class. Anything that can also delete bosses. Your DM clearly doesn't want you to delete bosses. Maybe try a different skill set. Yeah, I can understand the desire of a DM not wanting his boss to suddenly get hit with, what, 4d6 plus 4d8 plus SDR at level 2 because someone happened to roll a nat 20. I wouldn't make this change myself, but I can understand it. But that is the best part. First campaign we were in, we had enough of the enemy uniform to disguise all but one person and bluff our way in. The last person left was the rogue who climbed the outside of the castle, passing many checks for stealth and acrobatics, and snuck in an open window. We get to the end and meet the big bad and their henchmen and kick shit off. As we are distracting them, the rogue sneaks in and attacks the big bad. Crits and then rolls insanely high for damage as well. This just deletes the main bad guy that we had been chasing after for multiple sessions. That was like 5 years ago, and we still talk about it now. It was such an awesome moment and everyone went nuts when it happened. If we had all just fought through the fight as expected, it would have been fun, but we definitely would not still remember it 5 years later. Smite crits aren't a problem. If your DM thinks that's bad, then introduce him to inflict wounds, or any other spell attack with significant damage. A more reasonable concern is smiting 3+ times in one turn. A 5th level paladin can easily hit for 6d6 plus 8 plus 6d8 in one turn. That's what? 56 damage average. The paladin probably only has 44 horsepower herself at that level. I practically only smite on a critical, and not any critical, otherwise I prefer to use spells. The critical is a rare event. It also rarely aligns with a boss fight, and it consumes spell slots that could be used for a bless, a shield of faith, or other potentially more battlefield tilting actions. In almost 7 levels I really don't think smite is that useful at low levels unless critical. How is it okay for a rogue with the subclass assassin to be able to use critical damage with double dice for free on sneak attack almost every first round of every fight, and you with limited and conflicting resources must be forbidden to use the rare opportunity to deal significant damage with a smite that drains your powers? TBF, it's really fucking annoying when smite crits. A lot of times it's just an insta-kill. Players love it though. Just one of those DM things where you spend time prepping this cool fight, and a dude with a shiny weapon just evaporates it. Edit, to be clear, I would never ban it. With most fights, me critting on a divine smites barely does 1/4 of the boss's HP. Most of his bosses are just super fucking tanky and take forever to kill. If his bosses have that much HP and he's going around nerfing crit smites, I would guess that he's just an adversarial DM, who has too much attachment to his monsters. If he doesn't think that smites can crit even if you prove that sneak attack can crit, he's just making excuses to nerf the players because of his attachment to his own NPCs, and he doesn't want them dying quickly, even though crit smiting is both not reliable and not even that strong. I would probably drop the game if I were you. But if you need to stay because this DM so happens to be an Earl friend or is really good at the non-combat parts of the game, you could always just play a spellcaster. Though, if he's nerfing crit smites, he will probably also nerf any competent usage of spells. Usually rules like these are a sign of weakness or inexperience on the DM's part. Oh no, my player is too strong, how will I now make combat interesting / keep my super elaborate villain plan up / still be able to execute this plot twist or whatever. The DM's secondary job is to have everyone at the table have fun. If he nerfs you, against the rules, that's simply ruining your fun. You should talk to the DM if there is another reason he wanted to nerf this aspect of your class. Hopefully they are mature enough that you can talk it out. If not, then unfortunately you should start thinking about staying at the table or not. I think this is most likely not a simple misunderstanding of the rule. If your DM is not convinced by multiple online sources backing you up, then only the first advice can apply in my opinion. Disclaimer: I fully agree that this ruling is stupid and arbitrary. I could still see playing Paladin, multiclassing with Hexblade for sad CHA reasons and mainly focusing on the value your auras provide. I know I'm talking about the types of build that ironically take no more than 6 to 7 levels of Paladin though. In some ways I understand and agree with the co-Crete smites. I personally feel like Paladins are a bit overtuned already. In games I've played, I've seen many times a Paladin doing in excess of 100 damage in a turn, no haste, just his 2 attacks with a Crete. I've never seen a rogue do near as much, nor spellcasters without using something crazy like an 8th or 9th level spell, and those spells should be doing something like that. While I personally have it that sneak attacks, smites, eldritch or otherwise, do benefit from crits, I can understand the logic that crits get really OP when extra dice are involved in the attack. I use brutal crits, players and NPCs, do max dice plus roll them all too, makes crits really dangerous OFC, for both sides. That said, I do allow the smites etc. to brutal Crete too. It's been said over and over again for a long time now that 5e is not a balanced system. The SAO rating is useless because the game isn't based on any standardized math like it is in PF2e. It's totally arbitrary, which means the heroes are all massively OP. That's part of the play style. Your players are supposed to feel super powerful, they're heroes of the realm. People pick out specific elements of the system and say they're OP, but they neglect to mention that they're discussing an outlier that is only slightly more OP than everything else. Especially if you're allowing Crete damage to be maxed out, you're furthering worsening the imbalance and then singling out one of the major flaws of your own table rule.
Hey adventurers and fellow Redditors, are you tired of hearing the same old battle music during your D&D sessions, or just looking for the perfect soundtrack for your next epic quest? Well, let me introduce you to Amazon Music Unlimited. With Amazon Music Unlimited, you get access to over 100 million songs, ad-free. That means whether you need an intense combat playlist, relaxing tunes for a tavern scene, or just something to vibe to while scrolling Reddit, we've got you covered. And it's not just about music, there are thousands of podcasts too. So if you need a break between campaigns, you can catch up on your favorite shows. Plus, there's the best part. If you sign up today, you can try it free for 30 days. No commitment, no hassle, just endless music and podcasts tailored to your taste. So whether you're crafting your next D&D campaign, painting minis, or just chilling with your party, make your soundtrack legendary with Amazon Music Unlimited. Hit the link below and start your free trial now, because every adventure needs a killer soundtrack.
Don't mean to sound like a broken record here, but a critical doubles all dice. That means that a rogue's sneak attack, a cleric's inflict wounds, a wizard's firebolt, and a paladin's smite all get doubled from a critical hit. It's fun and it's fair. Your DM sounds like a dick. Like you can't Crete at all on smites, or just the smite dice aren't doubled on a Crete. Smite dice aren't doubled. It kinda sucks, but if sneak attacks aren't doubled in his game, then smite dice shouldn't be either. Although by raw both get doubled on a Crete. Sneak attack crits on my character were doubled much earlier on though. His reason was my character wasn't aware, which I just IWHA. He nerfed it mid-fight. Bro, I'm not a super confident GM, but that feels super bad. Wait, WTF. Didn't you just say in the op? His reasoning is that rogues can't Crete on sneak attacks anymore, so paladins shouldn't. Did he not nerf sneak attacks, or did he? DMs who hate it when their players kill the bad guys are just baffling to me. Bad DM equals me against the player's mentality. Good DM equals my players are the hero's mentality. Great DM equals let the dice decide what my players are. Only if you hate nuance. RNG is the best facilitator of epic moments, both positive and negative. In my experience, this is not always true. Oftentimes the dice can aid in an already epic moment, but it is the RP and care taken by my players that sets up those moments. The dice provide outcomes, but in a vacuum of nothing but raw rules, they don't carry the emotional weight without the story we're all telling giving them their results meaning. For me, I think the key is for the DM to only call for the rolls when they need to decide something actually deals with meaningful outcome of something that necessitates the random chance of a die roll. Things that are guaranteed, or should work, should work. No die to fall if fate is set. DMs have the opportunity to adjust DCs and the like, so good role-playing with persuasive, logical arguments may make that persuasion attempt easier, or even negate the check against a lawful individual. The chaotic, vengeful Fae-Zar of the Frostwind host might just not care about it. Or they might. Let the die fall. And sometimes, a just don't roll a 1 is enough pressure for the right situation. NTA or DM is being a dick. And rogues can crit on sneak attack. D&D is meant to be mega fantasy fun where you pull off anime-level feats of bullshit against dangers threatening the world. What's your DM's sad story? It feels a lot more like he wants this to be Dark Soulsy. If that makes any sense. I had to talk to him about fight difficulty before because my tank was going down, and I shit you not, literally every fight up until that point. He's normally not into the whole chosen one shtick and prefers commoners picking up weapons and through great effort killing monsters, which generally goes against my and one other player's power fantasy of just, I hit him with my sword once. He's dead. I hit him with my sword once. He's dead. I mean, your DM is being an idiot about this, but I will say that you seem like you're on the other extreme where you just want to be able to curb stomp everything. Speaking as a DM, I would never institute a nerf like this, especially not when paladins are my favorite class, but even if you think you enjoy never being challenged, it's really no fun if the party constantly walks all over the DM's encounters and the DM can't seem to challenge them. I'm not even an adversarial DM, I love it when my party wins, and I am unfortunately known to pull my punches a little too much. But I've had players like you, and one made me have to remove him, because he got so upset his plan to curb stomp everything didn't work, after I warned him it wouldn't. Why do DMs have the right to make changes? This is a group game based on the 5E rules system. It's not the DM's personal wish fulfillment group. As a forever DM, I can assure you that DMs shouldn't get absolute power because they're not game designers. They have no idea what they're doing. Just use raw. A dungeon master gets to wear many hats. As the architect of a campaign, the DM creates adventures by placing monsters, traps, and treasures for the other players' characters, the adventurers, to discover. As a storyteller, the DM helps the other players visualize what's happening around them, improvising when the adventurers do something or go somewhere unexpected. As an actor, the DM plays the roles of the monsters and supporting characters, breathing life into them. And as a referee, the DM interprets the rules and decides when to abide by them and when to change them. That is raw. Your DM needs to read both about paladins and rogues because they clearly don't understand either. He's been a rogue main for a long time before DMing is what confuses me. DM perspective that has a similar restriction. What I dislike about smite critting is how it reduces the paladin gameplay to holding back on spells while hoping for a crit. Try floating this alternate, which is what I do at my table. Anything declared after the roll cannot benefit from a critical success. This way, if the player says I'm smiting on this hit, if it hits before they roll and they happen to crit, they still get their big numbers, but there is no reason to hold on to the spell hoping for a crit. I don't find crit fishing to be a positive table experience, and this rule balances better gameplay with still allowing for that lucky moment at a time that could matter. I've implemented this rule with the lucky feat. Players have to say whether they'll use it before the roll, but this is mostly to prevent me from announcing the result immediately and give them a chance to use lucky or other similar things that can be chosen after seeing the roll but before knowing the result. I'm a former forever DM who's currently playing as a paladin, and I think paladins are kinda dumb and I can't imagine being a DM for a paladin player. It's annoying as a player, because at level 3 I feel like I have basically no resources, but I also know that if I roll a nat 20 against an undead it's just going to die instantly. So resource management for the player is annoying and encounter balance for the DM is annoying. Kinda just feels like an annoyingly bursty class all around. One of the players at my table runs a paladin and, because I'm a DM that believes my players are playing heroes that should feel powerful and be good at what they do, I enjoy having the paladin crit on smites occasionally. I don't understand why any DM would be annoyed at their players doing well. You're supposed to be rooting for them. Isn't the goal of the campaign for them to win? I would definitely say that that's unnecessary or argue against not allowing them. The spell slots are the way smites are restricted in comparison to sneak attack and such. I used to play a paladin in a campaign where I got nerfed a lot because of the class being powerful. While everyone else had a catered item to their class, I didn't get a magic weapon until the finale/level 10. On top of that, I wasn't allowed to smite on both attacks on my turn. I mean, I was still powerful. But it wasn't fun to be the only one nerfed in the group.
Hey there, fantasy fans. If you're looking for an epic listen, you have to check out Rosamund Pike's narration of the Wheel of Time audiobook. Rosamund Pike brings so much life to Robert Jordan's world. Her performance adds an extra layer of depth to the characters, making the story even more immersive. Whether it's her portrayal of the fearless Aes Sedai or the intense magical battles, she nails it. It's like experiencing the Wheel of Time in a whole new way. And here's the best part. You can get it for free with Audible's 30-day trial of Audible Plus. You'll get access to this incredible audiobook and more, completely free for a month. So if you're ready to dive into this massive fantasy world, this is the perfect way to start. Don't miss out. Check the link below and start your journey today. 100% free for qualifying people. Completely free. Click the link.